Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning into the latest UK General Election Opinion Poll Tracker video from the Gavin Partridge channel. So we did one of these in January. Last time I did one of these videos was in January. I thought it was time to get another one done for you. So we're going to be looking at the latest opinion polls during the month of March and the prediction based on those opinion polls from Electoral Calculus. I will also bring an update with how the polls have been looking through April as well. We'll have a look at approval and disapproval ratings for the Prime Minister and also for the Leader of the Opposition. We'll bring an update of how the government is faring in terms of its approval and disapproval. And if that wasn't enough, we'll have a prediction at the end of the video from Electoral Calculus for the local elections, local council elections that will be happening next week, of course, on Thursday. So, sit back, relax, enjoy. I'll talk you through all of the data in a moment. Just to say that if you're enjoying the vlogs on the channel at the moment, and most of the vlogs at the minute are about mouth cancer, so I am going through a mouth cancer scenario and treatment. So, and that's why I'm talking a little bit off. So, I hope you're able to understand. I think what I'm saying, if you're struggling a bit, just bear with me, you know, and hopefully I'll be understandable. But I am going through that at most. So most of the vlogs are about mouth cancer. However, I do want to carry on, you know, doing, when I can, some opinion poll videos as well for the next election. Next election is due to take place at the latest in 2024. So we're around halfway through the Parliament now, probably just a little bit over halfway. And yeah, so hopefully as we get towards the general election, these tracker videos will get a little bit more, you know, a little bit more frequent and whatnot. Right, okay, so as I haven't had a prediction for next election since January, a prediction video. So now we'll have a look at the latest prediction from Electoral Calculus. This was generated and released at the end of March, based on all the opinion polls that were conducted during the month of March. So here we go. No, here we go. And I better turn off the webcam as well, I suppose, hadn't I? And the latest prediction is Labour to be short 24 of an overall majority, which is not really changed from January. In January, they were predicted to be 18 short of an overall majority. Now, based on March's opinion polls, 24 short of an overall majority. So let's go through the headline numbers then. So the way this works out is a party just here, Conservative Labour example, 2019 votes and seats just there. I remember the predicted votes and seats columns just here. So the Conservative Party is predicted at the next election, based on the opinion polls in March, to get 35.1% of the vote, which gives them a central seat prediction of 257 seats. Now, of course, there's a margin of error within that, so at the low end of the seat prediction, they could be down to just 141 seats. On the high end, they could still have a majority at 369. However, the central prediction gives them 257. Labour is predicted to have 302 seats. That is, you know, means that they win the election in terms of seats with 39% of the vote. So they win the election for share of the vote as well. However, they are short of an overall majority. They need 326 to get an overall majority. So they are, you know, 24 short of that. Again, margin of error gives them 199 seats on the low end and 423 seats, a landslide on the high end. How that compares to 2019, Conservatives well down, nearly 10% down. They got 44.7% of the vote in 2019, 365 seats. Labour up 6 on from 33%. 39%, and of course well up on seats. They gained nearly 100 seats there, going from 203 to 302. Liberal Democrats predicted to get 9% of the vote, a 9.6. That gives them a central prediction of 10 seats. At the low end, they could be as low as just 5 seats. At the high end, they could be as high as 29 seats. Reform get no seats at all. Greens get 1 seat with 5% of the vote. SNP get 56 out of 56 seats, all of them. So they can't go any higher than that. That is every seat in Scotland, I think. And at the low end, they could be as low as 37 seats, and then Plaid get 5 seats. The high end, they could be at, they could get 7. At the low end, they could get 3. There's one other, and of course, we're into the Irish Party. So remember, Sinn Féin do not take their predicted 7 seats. So, yeah, Labour, you know, should be able to govern on those numbers. They could do some sort of deal with the Liberal Democrats, either confidence and supply or a coalition. That would get them from 302 to 312. They could bring in the Green MP, that would get them to 313. They would, though, still then, even then, be short of an overall majority. So, remember, overall majority is 326. So, any sort of arrangement would need to involve the 56 SNP MPs as well. And that probably wouldn't be in form of a coalition, but some sort of arrangement could be done. Labour 302 could govern as a minority and just dare other parties to vote down their Queen's Speech and budget. They could do that. Will probably be another election within a year or so, but they could actually, on 302, they probably could just about govern as a minority government, to be honest, and dare all the other parties to vote down their Queen's Speech. Because clearly, you know, they have won the election in terms of seats. They're well ahead of all of the nearest Partridge and Conservative, and they're well ahead in terms of their vote share as well. But I suspect some sort of arrangement will be done. Right, so these are the opinion polls that were conducted during February first of all, and then we'll have a look at the opinion polls in March, and then I'll bring an update with April's opinion polls too. So in February, Labour led all polls right from the beginning to end of the month. So the first poll is this one, YouGov, in February, that gave Labour 9% of vote, big lead then. And the final poll of the month was Repeal Wilton Strategies on the 28th of February. That gave Labour just a 3% lead. Generally, early on in February, but the Labour lead was a little bit higher. I think it did reduce a little bit overall later on in February. But Labour led all polls during February into March. Remember, it's March. March's opinion polls that the prediction from Electoral Calculus was based on. Lots of polls in March, more than usual. The first one in the month was Techly UK, which gave Labour a 3% lead. And the final poll, again, was Techly UK, actually. This was just here, that gave Labour, again, a 3% lead. You see that through March, Labour led all polls except one. There was a Cantor poll. This was just here, 17th to 21st of March, that actually gave a tie between Labour and Conservative. They were both on 36%. However, that looks like a little bit of an outlier, probably compared to most of the polls in March, which seemed to give Labour around a 4 to 6% lead. I think the Labour lead did reduce a little bit, though, in March compared to February overall. So in February, I think Labour lead was around 7%. I think in March, on average, it's around 5%. There are some quite narrow poll leads to Labour as well. For example, Opinium giving Labour a 2% lead. That one, just there, YouGov, again, just a 1% lead. With Labour, with that to them. So, yeah, you know, Labour generally around 4-5% with most of these opinion polls, but sometimes a little bit lower than that, occasionally a little bit higher, leaving them, you know, with enough to be the largest party based on those opinion polls, you know, put all together, but short of an overall majority. I'll just bring you up to date with what's happened during April. For the opinion polls so far in April. Of course, we're nearly at the end of the month now, and we'll focus more on this when we do the next opinion poll tracker video. But the first poll in April is that one, Samantha Conrad's, which gave Labour a rather high lead at 7%. Latest opinion poll is Repeal Wilton Strategies, which gives Labour an 8% lead. It does look as though the Labour lead in April is a little bit higher, probably, compared to the Labour lead in March overall. There's even an 11% Labour lead there with DeltaPoll for Mail on Sunday that was conducted on the 13th, 14th of April. Labour get an 11% lead with that one. So it's possible that when Electoral Calculus do their next prediction based on April's opinion polls, it's possible that actually we'll see the predicted, the prediction swinging a little bit to Labour in terms of their predicted seats and also share of the vote. But we'll see about that, of course, when we do the next video. This is how leadership approval ratings are looking. First of all, for Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Boris is currently going through a very, very, very unpopular phase in his Prime Ministership. Hardly surprising with all of the headlines, of course, over the past few weeks and so. We see there, right way from the beginning of the year, 7th, 10th of January, first poll, which is Ipsos MORI, gives Boris Johnson a net approval rating of -36. And there are various ways that you ask this question, favourable, unfavourable, approved, disapprove, well, badly, for example. So they're asking the question in a slightly different way, depending on the pollster, but they're all pointing in the same direction, which is very negative ratings for Boris Johnson at the moment. The worst poll for him appears to be, I think it's this one just here, which is YouGov from the 17th of January, which had Boris Johnson down to -51 in terms of his net approval ratings. That's a little bit of a slight recovery during March there. Repeal Wilton had him at just -8. It does look as though since then, however, he's got more negative again. The latest poll from Opinium has him at -33, with 59% disapproving and 26% approving. Boris currently very, very unpopular. As far as leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, is concerned, a little bit of an improvement for him. You'll remember when we were doing these videos back last year, Keir was generally in very negative territory. In fact, I can go back to them and show you, look at all this red for Sir Keir Starmer's net approval rating, constantly negative, constantly in the minuses, right the way from April 2021 on. Just a sea of red until the very last poll, which bizarrely is on Christmas Day. I don't know who was polling on Christmas Day. Opinium seemed to have been polling on Christmas Day, and gave him a net approval rating of +4. And that's the first time since April 2021 that he was, that Keir Starmer was positive. So Starmer, very negative with his ratings generally last year. However, looking a little bit better. Now, it's not setting the world right for a leader of the opposition. He should be more popular than this, really. As I've explained before, opposition leaders tend to be more popular because they're not in power doing anything but upsetting anyone. So typically, the opposition leader will be more popular and will have a positive approval rating if they're doing well. We do see one or two polls that have Starmer with a positive approval rate. So Keir gets a +4 there with Opinium on the 14th of January. We also have this one just here, which is again Opinium, that gives him a +1 approval rating. We've got Repeal Wilton Strategies, again gives him a +2 approval rating. Otherwise, it's either a balance, so neither positive or negative in two polls, and then the rest of them he has a net negative approval rating still in the red. However, his negative approval ratings at the moment are nowhere near as negative as Boris Johnson's net approval rating. So they're both pretty unpopular, but out of the two, Boris Johnson is clearly, more unpopular. Johnson is going through a very unpopular phase of his premiership. He may not recover from these numbers because they are very, very negative indeed. Whereas Keir Starmer, Keir is not that popular either, to be honest. But out of the two, he is, he's more positive at the moment. As far as government approval is concerned, this is the YouGov tracker. And again, the government is going through a very unpopular phase. It's more unpopular now than it has been since it was elected. In 2019, you have to go right the way back to the end of Theresa May's government in the summer of 2019 to find the disapproval and approval lines so far apart. And so, yeah, you know, not doing great. But it did go through a period of unpopularity of the government in the second half of 2020, just here. But now the government is more unpopular than it was then. The latest poll from the 21st of April shows 58% disapproving of Boris Johnson's government and just 23% approving of Boris Johnson's government. So the government, again, as with its leader, as with Prime Minister, looking very, very unpopular at this point. And what is all this likely to be in terms of the local elections, which will be taking place next week, of course. I think it'll be next Thursday. This is the latest prediction from Electoral Calculus in terms of councillors. So currently, the Conservatives have 1,965 councillors in the seats that are going to be contested. Labour have 2,887 seats in the seats that are going to be contested. Liberal Democrats have 460 seats, and Plaid Cymru have 126. Others, independents, have 279, and there's one vacant. So that is predicted to change with, based on the prediction, Electoral Calculus, predicted to change with the Conservatives going down to 1,155 councillors. That is a net loss of 810. So a big loss of councillors there. Big loss of seats. They go down 810. Labour go up by 835 and get 3,722 councillors at the end of this, local election next Thursday. Liberal Democrats lose 13 councillors. I'm not sure why that is, but Liberal Democrats go down to 447. Plaid go up 64 to 190. Others and independents go down 75 to 207, and that vacant seat, that disappears as well. What does that mean? So a big loss there for the Conservatives. This will be one of their worst performances for many years, I think, to lose like over 800 councillors. Big loss of councils. What does that mean in terms of councils? So at the moment, the Conservatives are controlling 43 of the councils that are going to be contested. And despite that big loss, and this is interesting, and may take a little bit of a pressure off Boris Johnson at the end of the day next Friday, I suppose, when the results roll in. Despite that big loss of councillors, losing over 800 councillors, they actually don't lose any councils, So sorry everyone, based on this prediction. So they start off with 43 councils, they end up with 43 councils, and there's no change, in terms of the councils that they control. Labour go up 22 councils, though, from 69 to 91. They are not directly changing from Conservative to Labour, so they must be changing from no overall control to Labour, I would have thought. Liberal Democrats, despite losing councillors, actually gain one council, going from 11 to 12. And Plaid gain 3 councils, go from 1 to 4, based on the prediction. Independents lose 2 councils, going from 4 to 2. No overall control or coalition councils going from 37 to 17, and so down 20. So that is where Labour is gaining control of the councils that they are gaining control of. They are not winning them directly. Councils aren't directly changing hands from Conservative to Labour. We're seeing Labour picking up councils from no overall control or either coalition councils. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty grim result for the government, as you expect, given the unpopularity that we see there, in terms of the opinion polls, in terms of the approval rating for the Prime Minister, in terms of YouGov's government tracker. Clearly we are going through a very unpopular period for both Boris Johnson and also his government, and also for the Conservative Party generally. And so you expect, given that scenario background, so you expect a pretty grim result for the Conservatives and for the government. It looks like what we're going to see. However, it could be worse because although they're losing a lot of councillors, it looks like they're managing to just about hang on to most or all of their councils. But again, there will be a margin of error within this prediction. All polls have that 3% margin of error. So, you know, if it's more towards the government, they won't do as bad as this, actually, and they may even pick up a council or two. If it's worse than this, though, then not only will the councillor loss be greater, might even be up to 1,000 councillors that they lose, or over 1,000, they might also start losing councils then as well. You know, some of those 43 councils might start to go if it's, you know, even worse than the prediction. Remember, in any poll, there will always be a 3% margin of error either way. Right, so that's brought you up to date with everything. I will try and get another opinion poll tracker video done for you in a few weeks' time, and we'll see how things are going. I'm not sure about being May or further on into the summer, but I will try and get another one done for you. But for this one, I hope I've spoken okay. I hope you've been able to understand what I'm saying. For this one, that's all for now, and thank you so much for watching.